UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site, people avoid the use of synthetic chemicals. And many people crave for these organically produced products in the area. So, in fact, this is not enough to supply the rest of the Philippines. So, many people are trying to grow their own organic garden at home. But unlike the former Satoyama landscape, which was a physical landscape with emotions attached, with a distinct aura, with a distinct mood and character when you get into the village. This time, maybe it's still very physical, but this is good already. When people would want to grow vegetables or crops or food crops, which are free from harmful chemicals. So I think this is a very good start already. I am interpreting this organic agriculture practice as transition Satoyama landscape, transition socio-ecological production landscape towards living in harmony with nature, towards getting back to the pre-literate worldview where humans were living with nature, with their gods, and the relationship was perfectly mutualistic and harmonious. I interpret organic agriculture practice as a transition landscape towards that perfect harmony and mutualism. What could be the role of UPN Faculty of Agriculture in this era of the Anthropocene? You have organic agriculture, I think, in your curriculum. So I think this would be a very good venue where the Faculty of Agriculture can contribute to the community in rehabilitating destroyed landscapes, in rehabilitating landscapes that had been devastated because of human dominance over nature. And advocating the Satoyama way of life requires peace, actually. Peace, which is literal peace. And peace where people would be engaged in active community experience. Peace here is active peace, not just waiting for something to happen. Sometimes we are mistaken by our belief and our view, our perspective, that maybe we can contribute peace by just keeping ourselves silent. But you see, in this peace I am discussing with you right now, this is actually active peace where we, all of us, would be engaged in active community experience. We help our neighborhood complete the farm task. We call this bayanihan in the Philippines. I don't know, maybe in Indonesia you have a different name, but I think you have this as well, where people in the neighborhood would help one another in completing an urgent task in the farm. We call this bayanihan. In fact, I think you are reminded of this in TV, in our TV, in your TV stations. You must have heard of the Bayanihan Act signed by our president in order to recover together amidst the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So this is bayanihan. In the Philippines, we always have this in the rural landscape, but in the urban metropolis, of course, we cannot see this anymore. Sometimes maybe cluster of families coming from the countryside, they do like this. But many of them, they do not know what is bayanihan already. Now, the piece that we are talking about, the engagement with communities, active engagement with communities, can be seen in our faces. If you are happy, you are always smiling, you can see peace in you. You can see peace in the communities. But what are faces I am talking about? This is about food security, output of peace, output of active community engagement. There has to be food security because we are insecure right now. There is food insecurity. There is water insecurity all over the world. But with peace, with active community experience, engagement with communities, there will be food security, and arts and culture will be rebuilt. It will be rehabilitated. It will be restored within the community. There will be sustained community education because people will automatically share what they have with the neighborhood, with their classmates, with their friends, with their colleagues outside of their city, outside of their province. And there is voluntary environmental stewardship because they know nature knows best. They know nature would take care of them, and therefore they want to be a good steward of nature. There is environmental stewardship, and there will be deep spirituality and respect for everybody. I think we lack many of these, especially spirituality and respect for all. I think we lost. We are losing this very important value system of a community. There is no more spirituality and respect for everyone. We always criticize. We always react with anger, with all the other emotions, instead of helping out and peacefully solving problems, confronting everyone in the community. I would rather think that practicing organic agriculture will gradually enhance respect for nature and the neighborhood and pave the way towards living this Satoyama way of life. With the help of UPN, of course, particularly the Faculty of Agriculture. And I hope after this lecture, maybe after the lecture of Dr. Joshi and mine, it would be good if there will be some sort of, like the law, there is implementing guideline. We will translate the content of the lecture into something that is really beneficial towards the community surrounding UPN in Surabaya. This book can be of help, I think. Methodologies supportive of sustainable development in agriculture and natural resources management. We have selected cases in Southeast Asia here. I edited this book, published by the Southeast Asian Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture and the University of the Philippines. And this is downloadable for free. So you can just visit Sherka website, Sherka Publications. You can download. These are methodologies. So whatever methodologies appropriate for your own context, it would be good if this could help. And incidentally, Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 are authored by Indonesians, by your colleagues. Chapter 7 is authored by our Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Sokenda. And Chapter 8 is authored by a professor in the University of Jember, Ecological Valuation. This is about ecological valuation. The UPN professor Sokenda is writing about pure coconut research and development management, which is from laboratory to commercialization. Because you see, in many studies right now, we normally stop after publication. The paper of Dr. Sokenda is an eye-opening story, and I think this will really help our researchers because this is from laboratory up to the community and commercializing technologies. So I think these are really science-based technologies. And the other one is about ecological valuation. And this is what we are losing as well, because we are always going for economic valuation, but we have ignored the ecological properties, the ecological impacts of a particular tree. We only measure, for the price of a particular tree, for example, we only compute the size of the trunk. But how about the leaves? The leaves are producing food for the plant. The leaves are capturing or absorbing carbon dioxide molecules, and this is reducing global warming and helping um, um, cope with climate change anomalies. So I think these are very good chapters you have to read, and there are still a lot more we can learn from. So I hope you can get hold of a PDF copy and share with your colleagues. This could be of help in rehabilitating socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes communities. In Surabaya, I am very familiar that there are lots of farms and coastal communities. So seascapes are also very important. And I think this book can help as well. And in fact, just yesterday, I was notified by Sharka that the print copies are now available and will be sent to lead authors of the book. And but the PDF copy is available for free. You can just download freely from the Sharka website. So that vibrant landscapes, vibrant Satoyama spirit, and Satoyama way of life lead to healthy and productive communities, not only during this time, but even after the COVID-19 pandemic as well, if we will be able to revert back to what has been during the, or even near or just approach the pre-literate worldview where humans will be living in harmony. Although it might be very difficult to get back to that living in harmony with nature, but I think regulated activities would do during this time. All our activities should be regulated. And therefore, we have to help our lawmakers, because our lawmakers, they are not agriculturists, they are not ecologists, they are not environmentalists, they are politicians, they are lawyers, and therefore it is on our shoulder. It is on us. It is our task to help them out. We have to show to them that this is the way as we, or as our studies have shown, something like that. And therefore, we would be able to contribute to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of them. And in fact, the International Partnership for the Satoyama Initiative, a global network. We have a conference every year of this, and I hope UPN will be applying with this global network. I was visiting professor in India in the Vellore Institute in Tamil Nadu, and during that visiting professorship for 1 month, we applied grants. We proposed a book with Springer. And then we also applied with the International Partnership for the Satoyama Initiative. When I came back here in the Philippines, I was informed by my host professor that they were already approved by the global network and become a member and will be participating in the annual conference wherever it will be declared in any member countries around the world. So with that, I hope we will be taking active part in fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations through the socio-ecological production landscape strategy. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for Professor Buel. It's very interesting topic. As we know, organic agriculture is in high demand nowadays. So our agricultural aspect takes an importance. Professor, maybe you have closing statement, please convey to us.
Myself?
Yeah, you will give one or two closing statements before we do Dr. Tiago.
Closing remark, something?
Yeah, like this, like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think it would be, if there is a need for us to discuss online, we can discuss online about the implementation of this in our in the landscape and seascape surrounding the UPN in Surabaya, that would be great. I would be happy to participate via Zoom. The crafting of the guideline on how to operationalize the Satuyama strategy, the Satuyama way of life in landscape and seascapes surrounding the Surabaya UPN campus.
Thank you. It's very interesting. Okay. How is everyone doing? I hope you are not sleepy. Let's stretch our body for a while. And I remind everyone, there will be 3 questioners who will get a prize. Okay, continue the next lectures with the interesting topic about new thinking for Philippine agriculture will be delivered by Dr. Joshi. Before Dr. Joshi presents the lecture, I will read his CV. His name is Ravinda Chandra Joshi, is correct? Dr. Joshi?
Yep.
He is an entomologist. He has many professions. One of them is visiting professor in many universities and an invasive species specialist. He also worked in Philippine Rice Research Institute. He has over 25 years experience in evaluating pest problem in agricultural crops, experimenting and devising integrated crop management system for ecologically sustainable management approach against invasive alien species in new climate change. He also has many books and publications. One of his books is Global Advance in Ecology and Management of Golden Apple Snake. Okay, for the next 40 minutes, we will listen to Dr. Joshi lecture. Dr. Joshi, please begin your lecture.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Medina. Let me first share my file and then I'll start the presentation. Can you see my file? Can you see?
Yeah, we are. Yes.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yes, very clear.
Can see.
Is it, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Yes. Here.
Thank you so much. First of all, good afternoon to everybody. I'm so happy I can see more than 200 participants attending this event this afternoon. I was, I was trying to get into the Zoom link that was sent to me, but later I requested Dr. Buyot because I saw my old colleague, old friend from the University of the Philippines, where I have graduated, also from the same university, and we both work on ecological agriculture as well as in organic agriculture. So we have the same interest, and also in terms of ecological work we do to promote sustainable development. So I would like to thank the Faculty of Agriculture from the University of UPN University, Dean, for inviting me to this important workshop. My special thanks are to Dr. Novisar Nasir, who is the Global SafeNet coordinator. And he was the one actually who recommended me to your dean for making a presentation. So today what I'm going to do is I'm so happy that, the first speaker, Dr. Buya, Professor Buya, has talked about the Satoyama concept, which is so relevant even with or without COVID times. And you can see on my first slide, this is a typical Satoyama concept that, I have been working in this area in the UNESCO heritage site, which Professor mentioned. It's in the northern part of the Philippines. It's the famous rice terraces, which look similar like the one you have in Bali and other part of Indonesia. So what I'm going to do today is I will share the transformation that is taking place in the Philippine agricultural sector under the leadership of a science-based secretary, not a politician. He's a science-based secretary of agriculture, Dr. William Dhar. So I'm actually using his term, the new thinking for Philippine agriculture. I work currently. I work with also with aside from the CBSUA, the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture. I also work with the Philippine Rice Research Institute, as well as with other international agencies, both within the Philippines as well as outside, mostly working on invasive species and ecological engineering. So, the today's, I think, first speaker has mentioned most of the things that I wanted to talk. So I'm going to now talk only about the new thinking that is taking place in the Philippine agriculture. So my presentation is going to be outline is very simple. I try to make it very simple because it's a huge topic to discuss in just 30 minutes. But however, I made it very simple for everybody, students or other people that are attending this webinar. So first, I'll give you a little about what is Philippines and the agricultural sector. What are the constraints in the Philippine agriculture sector? Some of which Professor Boyet has mentioned about it. The third is the new thinking in the Philippine agriculture, which is the term that is coined by Secretary Dr. William Dhar. And the fourth point I'm going to talk is what is the Philippine government response to COVID-19 impacts on agriculture food sector? And that has great also good implication with our other neighboring ASEAN countries. We have learned some things from them and we have applied them in the current pandemic area. And a very short to show the current performance of the Philippine agriculture sector in starting 2019 and currently, and what is the way forward. So as you know, Philippines is a country with more than 7,000 islands. It's an island country. It is located in the Western Pacific Ocean. We are neighbors to Malaysia as well as to Indonesia, and it has three major islands or three groups of islands. One is the Luzon. The middle part is the Visayas, and the southern part of the Philippines is Mindanao. It has 16 regions with 79 provinces with more than 114 cities. And, it has municipalities with more than close to 1,500 municipalities with more than 41,000 barangay. Barangays are something like small villages. So what are the constraints in the Philippine sector? Many of these constraints are similar to Indonesia and to other ASEAN countries, but we have some of them are quite unique. And one of them, which is very serious, is the impact of changing climate, especially in the Philippines. We are now, last month, we were hit by 3 typhoons in a row. In less than 10 days, we have 3 typhoons together, one after another. So, with the climate change, Philippines is adversely being affected in terms of ecology of ecological disasters. Dr. Boyat mentioned about the flooding that is caused in the northern part of the Philippines because of the deforestation, and as well as the change of the land use patterns. The second thing is the drought. The drought is also very common in the Philippines, and of course the flooding that has been that is now very frequent in the Philippines. And basically, we don't have to. The blame is also because of we're not taking care of the environment, as the Satoyama concept that Professor Boyat mentioned. I think some of these things are more triggered because of the imbalance that we are creating in our ecosystems. The second important thing, which is actually affecting the farmers in the Philippines, is the high cost of inputs. Very high cost of seed, very high cost of fertilizers, very high cost of pesticides. The third is, the farmers can have in now currently the farmers in the Philippines, their yields are comparably very high compared to some of the Asian countries. Like, the yield per unit area is quite high in the Philippines, but however, because we are so prone to natural disasters, to changing climate, many of our produce are also having problems of getting very low price because of the degradation in the produce, and as well as because of other external factors. One of the biggest constraints that the farmers in the Philippines have suffered over the years is the lack of access to capital and lack of post-harvest facilities. There's good production, but the post-harvest losses are very high in the Philippines. In the Philippines, you can see many of the farmers, they usually dry their rice on the roadside after harvest. And there is a lot of post-harvest losses that are taking place. Of course, the problem of labor, because many of the young generations is not willing to go to farming these days. So, there are reasons for it. So we are now addressing these problems in the new thinking. And the pest outbreaks have increased. There is a heavy infestation in many of the Asian countries, including Indonesia, which I'll be talking a little later down below, is we are having frequent outbreaks of pests that were not, these are foreign pests, these are invasive species. And secondly, we are also having increased infestation of the existing invasive species that are already present in the country. And the last one is the poor irrigation systems that many areas are not yet still under irrigation, so we cannot have the maximum potential in terms of production. So those are the old challenges, and they have been there for time immemorial, but some of them still have to be addressed. So the new challenges are, it's a very serious problem in many of the Asian countries now, including Indonesia. So we have a problem of the African swine fever. We have the problem of the fall armyworm, which is an invasive species, attacking corn as well as more than 200 host plants. And the problem of the fall armyworm is that the farmers are using excessive chemicals to combat fall armyworm, but they are also causing ecological implications. So, the Philippine government has designed the ecological approach to management of the invasive species, especially the fall armyworm. I'm currently a consultant also to the Philippine Rice Research Institute. Also, the office of the Dr. Dhar actually invited me to be a consultant to manage this invasive species, because my specialization is on invasive species, as I told you, organic farming and ecological engineering. The third biggest challenge that Philippines and also many countries after the COVID is the falling prices. That means the prices of harvest are of the farmers are not getting the right price because of so many complications in terms of markets, in terms of movement, in terms of labor. So the prices of the commodities are flying. And one of the biggest challenges the whole world is facing, including Indonesia, Philippines, and only few countries in the world have no problem of COVID-19. And I happen to like Solomon Islands, where I worked before. They are secluded islands, so they are easy to manage COVID-19 problems. But in our countries, in our region, it is very complicated. But however, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused us to think differently. I think it is very challenging to address COVID-19, but it presents a unique opportunity. You know, even the Satoyama concept that Professor Byung mentioned, I think this is an opportunity to even for governments, even for universities, or even for non-governmental organizations to look at how to reconstruct the agriculture and food systems that should be resilient, that should be inclusive, that is competitive and environment sustainable. Same concept of what in organic agriculture and also in Satoyama concept. So the Department of Agriculture is doing its best to introduce and carry out programs related to the Agriculture Secretary's 8-point agenda under its new thinking of agriculture. You know, I have provided you the link in all my slides, so you can, if you do not, you do not have to take notes during my presentation, which will go to those links and you can get more information. So I'm going to discuss a little about the 8-point agenda, which is addressing all the issues of sustainable development. So the government of the Philippines have rapidly enacted a host of measures to mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic and set the stage for recovery in food sector. So, you know, we had a lot of steps that the Philippine government has taken to address the pandemic 19. First is about the commodity diversification. So what you see in Satoyama concept? In Satoyama concept, you also see there is so much crop diversity, so much ecosystem diversity, so much functional diversity, so much species diversity. And that is, in agriculture, we need diversification, not monoculture. And in order to increase the supply of nutritious foods. The second is the capacity to build the capacity of the farmers and fisher folks to process and add value to their produce. Third is to link farmers to supply chains for government feeding programs and relief operations. Because I think this is very helpful, and the farmers in the Philippines now are currently seeing that they are able to, you know, in spite of the pandemic, because of the government feeding programs and relief operations, they are able to encourage to plant and plant and plant, so that because they know there is the supply chain is intact. And of course, one of the biggest project that was launched by the Philippine government after the pandemic was on urban agriculture and community gardening. And I believe this is one of the, especially, you know, I have worked in so many island countries before, and I see the home gardens or the community gardens or the urban gardens in remote areas or in rural or in urban areas contribute a lot to not only in terms of food and nutrition security, but also in terms of generating small incomes to the family. So it also adds to the family security, and as well as it also encourages the youth in agriculture. The one of the biggest thing that I think the Department of Agriculture in the Philippines did during the COVID-19, and all of us are, I think, benefiting from it. They simplified the procedure for accreditation of food lanes. So any truck carrying supplies, that food supplies or farming or fertilizers or pesticides or farming input seeds were allowed to pass through the during the lockdown period. And in addition, also the is also allowed the farming and fishery activities from through the whole food value chain, from planting to the harvest to trading and to bringing food on the table. And one of the things that is currently being frequently monitored is the price of food and other essential commodities, which is consistent with the Price Act that was uh, through an executive order. The last one, that is use the supply chain regulatory impact assessments and supply chain analysis dashboards to monitor and supply and address supply bottlenecks around the country. Because addressing the COVID-19 impacts, actions, they have to be monitored very closely, and you have to quickly make modifications with the existing scenario. So the Philippines have done very good in terms of addressing COVID-19 in terms of food security. So this is you can see the photo of our secretary, Dr. William Dhar. He's, he was the former Director General of the International Center for Semi-Arid Tropics in Hyderabad in India. And, I happened to have an opportunity to work with him while I was in the Philippines. And still, we work very closely with Dr. William Dhar. He's a science-based person. He's not a politician. So, that's why for a food secure Philippines, his new thinking set is to double the income of farmers. So if you look at the column on the photo on the right hand side, at the bottom there is a logo, Masaganing ani mataas ng kita. That means what he's talking about is that good harvest, ani is harvest, and kita means good income. So he's talking about, in his new thinking for Philippine agriculture, is to double the income of the farmer and fisher folks. And it is built around the 8 paradigms. You can see those first, second, third, fourth. The first one I'll talk about it is the modernization must continue. The Philippine agriculture has to modernize, just like other Asian countries like Vietnam. They studied in the Philippines, but today our Indonesians, they studied in the University of the Philippines, and now when they went back, they are doing really great in terms of actually what Dr. Dhar is proposing and is implementing these days. The second is the industrialization of agriculture is the key. The third one is the promotion of exports is a necessity. And the fourth is consolidation of small and medium-sized farms. And the fifth one is the infrastructure development. You can have a good harvest, but you don't have good infrastructure, then, or you do not have good irrigation facilities, you can't have, you cannot attain the yields that you want. The higher budget and investment to the Philippine agriculture and legislative support is needed, and roadmap development is a paramount importance. So first one is about the modernization of agriculture. So again, the Satoyama concept is important here because you diversify crop production. That is the key. You know, most of the time what happens is that uh, Philippines has been focusing on only few crops, not much diversity, and even within the crop, not much diversity within the crop itself. So, you know, we have more than 80% of the lands in the Philippines, farmlands in the Philippines are only devoted for three major crops. One is rice, the second one is corn, and the third one is coconut, you know. So we need to diversify in the modernization of agriculture. And second is we need to use modern technologies. And it should modern technologies for all kinds of crops so that, you know, they can have export potential. For example, coffee, you know, Indonesia is doing great in coffee, cacao, cassava. You know, we have to learn from our neighbors because they use modern technologies to promote their agricultural products, because they add value to the product. They don't sell rice as rice. They make other products that are value added products from different agricultural commodities. The second one is the agri entrepreneurship. You know, we have to treat agriculture as a business. It's just like your industries. You know, when you work in industries, you know, everything is about making money, is about business. So we have to in the Philippine agriculture, we have to focus on the modernization of agriculture. The second one is the industrialization of agriculture. So we should treat our agriculture as an industry. So again, the value chain for each agriculture commodity is very crucial, because then you add more value, you can get more returns. You can process, for example, you have a lot of we have a lot of we can reduce food wastage. We have a lot of tomatoes, for example. We should now process them into maybe ketchup or other kind of value added products, so that we can demand not only reduce wastage, but at the same time we can improve farmers' income and profit. The second one in the industrialization of agriculture is the private sector investment, and that is very needed, because, you know, you go to Vietnam, you go to Indonesia, many of the private companies, they are investing on value addition for agriculture. Like you go to Vietnam, Vina meat, you know, Vina fruit, you know, you can buy banana chips, dried, dehydrated vegetables. So that is adding value to the product, and these are all industry based. It is not done by the Department of Agriculture in their country, but it's done by the private sector, because they also make money. The third one, which is very crucial, I think it's happening in most of the countries, and now Philippines is going into the digitization of the farming and agribusiness activities, where the credit is made available, affordable, and accessible through digital modes. The third pillar is about the promotion of the exports. You know, Philippines only exports currently two major products. There's a banana and coconut products. Coconut is mostly exported in terms of virgin coconut oil or in the oil form. But look at our neighbors, like Indonesia have more than 5 products that they have, you know, export. And Vietnam has 7, and Thailand has around 13 of this. And so I think in the promotion of export now, just like in other countries, I think the Department of Agriculture in the Philippines has now thought or have come out with collaboration or convergence of the Department of Trade and Industry as well as other departments to address the problems, to address to improve on the export of agricultural commodities. Farm consolidation is very crucial because we have fragmented lands, unlike in the olden days. We have people used to work together. That's what Professor Buoth mentioned, that in the Satoyama concept there was everybody was staying in harmony. There was working together. But in the farm today, now we need this thing to be done in the Philippines, particularly to bring the economies of this scale. And we have developed the roadmap. The roadmap has been developed where the inputs from the private sector and all stakeholders, whether you are in the university or whether you are in the private sector or you are with the non-governmental organization, it is it has been well addressed in the new roadmap of the Philippines. Infrastructure development is very crucial. That's why Philippines is now embarking on build program. And also in agriculture, we have several programs to address the irrigation facilities. The higher budget and investment for agriculture. I think this is the only year that was last week. The Philippine Department of Agriculture have got the highest budget for agriculture compared to all those years, all the past years. Now we have a very big budget because the increased budget is going to unlock the potentials of agriculture and agribusiness to the economy and building more employment opportunities. The last one is the legislative support. The legislative support currently in the Philippines for the agriculture is very, very good, because you see, without the legislative support, I don't think Philippines would have got the highest budget for agriculture over the last many years. I just want to show you what is the agriculture current performance. Since the time the COVID-19 impacts were COVID pandemic in the Philippines hit, almost all sectors were adversely affected. It's just true, I think, for even Indonesia or even other countries that have the problem, that have COVID pandemic. But what's interesting on the left-hand side of the image is that you can see that in the third quarter of 2020, that means we had COVID started in the March of 2019, sometime in the Philippines, and you can see all of the sector, including the industry sector, the services sector, they have a negative growth. But surprisingly, the Philippines, though there is a reduction because of the COVID, but is still on the positive side. And this is basically because you have a science-based secretary who knows how to address the issues of agriculture. So agriculture, this is the good story that I want to show, is that the Philippines, in spite of the COVID pandemic, is still registering a higher, is still a positive growth rate. It is not higher than in 2019, but it is not showing a negative growth rate. So I think that is the good thing of this. So in the third quarter, I will be explaining this slide in the next two more slides. I just want to show you the impacts of COVID and how the agriculture sector in the Philippines have managed to save some of the. Now, if you look at the growth rate on the fourth quarter of 2019, you can see there is an increase in the crop sector, which is around 1% of the performance of the agriculture. For agriculture, it was around 0.4% in the fourth quarter of 2019 when we still have the COVID. But we had other problems aside from the typhoon, that we were hit by four major typhoons in 2019, and that has contributed to a big loss in our performance. But the crop sector is expanded by around 1%, the poultry by around 5.4%, and the fisheries by around 3.4%. So, except the livestock sector, because as I mentioned before, the African swine fever, which is one of the three F's that I was talking about. The first F I was talking about is the African swine fever. The second one was the fall armyworm, which is an insect, which is also a very serious problem in Indonesia now. And the third one was the falling prices. And the livestock sector was the only one that fell down in terms of because of the impacts of the African swine fever. Because the African swine fever is a challenge because it is not possible to cure for it. You have to sacrifice the hogs. So there is no vaccine for it. So definitely the livestock sector had a fall because of that. Now, I just want to compare the 2019 and 2020 agriculture sector. You can see that agriculture increased by 2.7% from 2.4%. So we are doing good, and we have to do better as we go along towards the end of this year. And the crops, we had an increase of 4.8%. The livestock was a little better than the decrease was because of the measures that were taken to control the African swine fever. The poultry was a problem basically because of the attack of the fall armyworm, the corn feeds. So those are some of the problems that had led to the decline, and the fishery sector continued to rise up. So this is just to show you illustration on how the sector is performing in the third quarter of 2020. This slide is very important. This slide is talking about World Bank, who is assessing how Philippines has done to maintain its food supply chain during the COVID-19. So this is not the Department of Agriculture quote. This is the quote from the World Bank. So the Philippines has mostly succeeded in sustaining functional food supply chains. Among the most effective measures have been the food lane pass. I mentioned about this thing in my earlier slides, that the Philippines, as long as the trucks are carrying food, whether it is rice, vegetable, fruits, fertilizers, pesticide, any farming inputs or farm produce, they have a free pass. Nobody can stop at the expressway. They are allowed to. So this did not disrupt the food chain. The pass is extended to food, whether fresh or processed, and inputs required to produce food, such as feed, seed, and fertilizer. This is the way forward that I think is important for the Department of Agriculture, and even for the Philippines, as Dr. Professor Boat mentioned, Philippines is aggressively working on organic agriculture, because we even have an organic agriculture law that is promoted. And I am a member of IFOM, the International Federation for Organic Movement. I work, I attend all their conferences in different countries, because I believe in organic agriculture and ecological sustainable agriculture development. So the first, in the Philippines, we have national programs focused on national rice program, the corn program, the high value crops, the livestock program, the organic agriculture, and the halal food industry development program. From Indonesia, we have to learn a lot on this, because Indonesia is very advanced in halal food industry and food products, and the Philippines have to do a lot of catching up with the Indonesian partners, especially on this area of activity, and even on many of the high value crops like coffee, cacao, Indonesia coconut. These are these are the high value crops that Indonesia has a lot of advantage, including universities in Indonesia. They have very good programs on these kind of high value crops. More support to strengthen the new thinking of agriculture together with development partners, private and public institutions. The focus will be on the production to consumption value chain. So the whole value chain that the World Bank was talking about. The second is to address hunger in all form of nutrition or malnutrition. The problem now in most of the countries is not because of the food per se, but also on the kind of food people are eating. Like in the Satoyama concept, the food quality, the food is safer food. So that is why in most of the countries now, because of the fast foods and because of the cheap foods, that we are introducing a lot of non-communicable diseases like obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and this is because of the lack of quality nutritious food. So this is one of the areas that the Philippines is addressing, because we should be producing younger generations that are healthy, because only the healthy food can produce healthy individuals and healthy economy. The last one is to enhance and strengthen the country's biosecurity measures, especially on infectious disease, infectious pests like invasive species of both of crops as well as animals. The Philippines have a very famous program. I think everybody now knows this Plant program. It is basically based on to survive, to reboot and grow the economy from the COVID-19 impacts. COVID-19 impacts, even for me, I can tell you that even COVID-19 impacts have changed the way I do my things. It's not about just online webinars or online discussion. It's all about, how to make, to be innovative and think positively to bring about changes that are needed, not only in agriculture, but even in the way we live and the way we manage our life. And I think the most important thing I'd like to see from this activity that we are having today, and we are very fortunate. We are very fortunate today that we have also Professor Poet, with whom I know for many years, and we have the same kind of thinking. I think we can together work with your university, especially with the Faculty of Agriculture, and including with together with the SAFE network, because SAFE network, I think most of the people in the ASEAN region know about SAFE network. And SAFE network has a lot of activities that are addressing to the sustainable development goals. And we have many programs with majority of the universities in the ASEAN countries. Every year we have more than 600 to 700 participants attending the SAFE network meeting annual conference. And this year it was supposed to be in Jeju Islands, but we could not do it because of the pandemic. So, however, I think personally, I am very happy because, together with Professor Both, we can both work together with you, with the UPN University and with the Faculty of Agriculture to promote organic, sustainable, ecologically sustainable agricultural development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Josie, for the lecture. It's very interesting topic. Well, right. One of the important talks is a way forward to strengthen the new thinking for agriculture is focused on production to consumption value chains, address hunger and all forms of malnutrition, enhance and strengthen the country's biosecurity mission. Dr. Josie, maybe you have closing remarks before we start to just discuss. Please convey to us.
Are we having the Q&A or?
Yeah, yes. After this, we can discuss that. Okay. Now time to discuss. I will read some question in chat room. The first time from the MC. Okay, I will write the question. Is from Luperta Agadia. Yes. How does Philippines manage against the fall armyworm invasion? Maybe for Dr. Joshi.
Yes. Thank you so much for asking that question. I've been working on fall armyworm for a long time. Since the time it came to the Philippines. So what's happening is that we have developed a very good strategy on managing the fall armyworm, and we have a very good plan which I can share the file to the participants, whoever is interested. But I can send it to you, and you can send the file to all the participants. The main focus of our work on fall armyworm is that we are focusing on the ecological basis. We are getting out from a calendar-based application of pesticides. So we are not doing something like pest management strategy that is reactive. We are using a strategy where we encourage natural enemies and other cultural practices to enhance, to manage the fall armyworm. So the main focus of our strategy is to reduce the use of pesticides and enhance natural control mechanisms through an ecologically sustainable approach to the management of fall armyworm.
Thank you. Maybe from Asmadia, if you have more questions, let's write in the room chat. And then for the second question, I think it's for Professor Hua. In relation to the pandemic and post-pandemic times, why was organic farming chosen for today's agricultural solution? The question from Oki Nur Hidayah. Professor?
Yes. Organic agriculture, right now people are really craving for good food. They are craving for healthy food. So I think because of that, organic agriculture would be the best would be the best kind for this during the pandemic and after the pandemic. In fact, this has been mentioned by Dr. Josie that if you have good food, you will have a healthy mind, you will have healthy body, you will be producing good economy as well. So I think it's really the organic agriculture where you will have good inputs which are environmentally friendly. You will not be destroying the environment if you will have organic agriculture with you. So therefore, I think that should be the best solution so that we will not be paying painful sacrifices of what we have done, what we are doing. Yeah.
Can I add a little
Yes, this.
to Professor?
Yes.
Yeah. In the Philippines, because of this pandemic, you can see now, whether on Facebook or in social media, you can see everybody is planting, plant. They are planting vegetables. They are planting, mostly eggplants, okra, tomatoes, leafy vegetables, and none of the Philippine government Department of Agriculture spent a lot of support, giving communities, giving every household free packets of seeds, and all of them are planting, because this is the only time, because you are confined in the house. So that way it has also kept people mind active. Otherwise, many of the problems of pandemic is people have become mentally sick, so this exercise of home garden, organically based, they are all organic. Nobody is using fertilizers, nobody is using pesticides. They are just growing them in the front of their house, at the back of the house, any space you are looking into it, so the organic agriculture, even from the ancient time, the organic, because I'm an organic agriculture practitioner. So I believe, organic agriculture, not, even our ancestors, even my grandfather, the grandmother, the old ancestors, they all taught us how to grow our own food organically.
Yes, thank you. I think it's same in Indonesia. A lot of people is in planting in room, in house. They plant what's the plant. Okay, from
just to add on it, last week I was giving a seminar about home gardens.
Yes.
And I mentioned about the home gardens, the Indonesian program. Yeah. Indonesia has how many thousands of home gardens after the COVID impact? After the COVID. Same thing in case of Sri Lanka. There are two major programs on organic agriculture, home gardens. So in the home gardens, the current generation think home gardens are just something like, what is it going to make us? But in terms of your health and nutrition, in terms of even exercise, it gives you a lot of exercise. Every 30 minutes you do in a day, in a morning you do home gardening. It keeps you fit. So I think the organic agriculture is the key in the future.
I agree with you, Dr. Josie and Professor Puat. Maybe from the next question, I would like this from the Koyimul Amri. I'd like to ask about Benung rice terrace. Could we categorize or classify it as Satoyama landscape type? Maybe Professor, what?
Can you repeat the question?
Benung rice terrace.
Yes.
No. Could we categorize or classify it as Satoyama landscape?
Yes. Yes. Basically, it is a Satoyama landscape because it possesses the three structures needed to form a Satoyama village. You have the forest. The forest in the Banaue rice terrace is a managed forest. They call Muyong locally. It's a managed forest. In fact, that is the prerequisite to having a farm, to having a rice farm, to having a rice terrace, you should have the moyong first, because that would be the source of your water. That should be the source of your organic fertilizer. And then you have the village around. So basically, Banawe rice terraces and all the rest of the rice terraces in the Cordillera are Satoyama or socio-ecological production landscapes.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Maybe Dr. Joshi, you want to give addition? No? And maybe from next question, I would like to, how would organic farming help Philippines and Indonesia export market in the future? Maybe Professor Buat or Dr. Joshi, you can.
You can go ahead, Professor Boyd.
Press.
I'll talk later.
It would be good to have exchange of goods, organically produced goods in the future. Right now, I don't know so much about the exchange of goods between Indonesia and the Philippines. Maybe Dr. Joshi would be more knowledgeable about it. But it would be great to know in the future that there will be huge exchange of goods, organically produced ones. Like the cacao in Indonesia, it's really the best, I think. Your coffee, I think you have the best coffee, you have the best cacao. When I go to Indonesia, I always bring with me coffee and cacao back home. Yeah, I hope it would be materializing one day. Yeah, maybe Dr. Joshi would be able to provide the more entrepreneurial aspect.
There are a lot of things that we can Indonesia can share with the Philippines in terms of organic products, because you are you are very good in coffee. Even we have under the SAFE network, we have a special program on safe coffee. The name is Safe Coffee, SAFE, because the SAFE network is sustainable agriculture, food and energy network. This is a very and second program that we have in the SAFE network is about safe rice, SRI rice. That is system for rice intensification, but we brand it as safe rice. Safe rice is very common now in rice terraces in Indonesia. So we can, I think in the future, when we have to learn a lot from Indonesia in terms of you are very good in value adding products.
Yeah.
You are not only selling rice as organic rice, you are making them into rice crackers, your crispies. You can buy them and you have a very good packing material. And secondly, you are very good in halal certification. Those are the things Philippines can learn from Indonesia in terms to promote organic. And of course, you are doing a lot of work also, not only in terms of product, but even in terms of technology. Like, for example, you do a lot of work on organic fertilizers, organic pesticides.
Yeah.
I have a lot of universities in Indonesia that collaborate with me. In term also to manage invasive species using organic waste, using ecological sustainable, and not only use of chemicals, but also in terms of sustainable development, in terms of organic agriculture. So there's a lot of scope between Indonesia and I think universities, collaboration with universities and the faculty of agriculture, faculty of agribusiness. This is what we need. That's why why did I join SAFE Network? I am the coordinator of the SAFE Network for the Pacific Island countries. I joined because I could see the value of the SAFE Network, how we are connecting different universities in the region together to exchange We even organize summer course, we organize summer course in Safe Network. So, we can have a summer course on, I am proposing a summer course on ecological engineering. So we will have that activity. And I think Indonesia is the lead country, because Dr. Novisar is from Indonesia, from Andalas University, who is the global coordinator of the Safe Network. So I think we have a lot of opportunities to work together with your university in the area of organic agriculture, because we by heart, both the speakers today fortunately have the same thinking about organic agriculture in terms of ecological sustainability. So we are very willing to open up discussion. Even after this webinar, we can have a joint program that we can request Safe Network to sponsor it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for answering, Fuad and Dr. Joshi. Maybe there's anyone can ask directly to Professor Fuad and Dr. Joshi. Let's unmute your mics or open your camera. Everyone, student or the other lecturers. I think someone. There is anyone?
Can I ask? Can I ask a question?
Yes, it's okay.
So I want to ask about the fall army worm to Professor Rossi. Now, you said that the Philippines are gonna reduce the use of pesticide. So, and you're gonna improve the interaction between the ecological effect and the pest. So I want to ask you something about, do you use like some type of predatory system, or more like what you say,
Biocontrol.
entomopathogen?
Yeah.
Yes, entomopathogen system or like that.
That's a very good question. Actually, the Philippines is releasing a lot of naturally occurring biological control agents. One of them is the predators. They are using predators. They are also using entomophagous pathogens like Metarhizium. They are using Metarhizium for the fall armyworm. They are also using BT products, pathogens, Bacillus thuringiensis, that is indigenous strains of Bacillus thuringiensis. And also in terms of, they are using other ecological practices that can enhance the existing natural enemies. Like, there is a wasp that attacks the eggs, that is Stellinomus. It's a wasp. There's a wasp that attacks the larva. There is a wasp that attacks the pupa. They are already existing. So, one of the project that I'm currently doing, I think if you are interested, you can, I have just put in my chat box my email address, rcjoshi4@gmail.com. Please feel free to contact me, because, I am working on a project which already with the Philippine government. Yesterday, I was in the field in selecting the sites where the fall armyworm is a big problem. So what we are doing in this project is that we are now looking at if fall armyworm will move to rice, because now fall armyworm is present in corn. But in some countries, it has been reported to attack on rice and more than 200 different kinds of plants, vegetables.
So you gonna like cultivate more predatory organism to not eradicate it, but manage to control the population of the fall armyworm.
Right.
To do that, you have to capture the male and female of the predator bugs to create more population. Is that what you're working on?
No, we are working on how to enhance, how to conserve them in their natural habitat.
Oh, I
The
see.
second thing we are also trying to do is we are trying to provide either food or nectar or honey to enhance the population in the field, because mass multiplication is very expensive. So we are more on looking at conservation approach rather than mass releases.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you, Professor Rossi.
And please send me your email, because I think you are crop protection
Yes, I
interested.
am.
So please send me,
Yeah.
because I will send you all the other information on invasive species that are very common in Indonesia. So I like to interact with the people who are working on invasive species, organic agriculture. So please send me your email. I've sent you my email. You can look in the chat, and I'll provide you all the information. And I'll be happy to collaborate with you.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Professor
It's
Rossi.
very nice. Thank you, Dr. Jose. I think it's not from Algeria. And then the question is from Laksmi Budiana, is from the lecture. This question is about, so is it possible to have joint short courses between UPN and Philippines? I think it's from Professor Buat or Dr. Joshi can answer the questions.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. Yes, it is very much possible, especially during this time where online thing is the norm. Actually, in 2014, we started our collaboration with UPN. And in fact, during the time when I was dean of one of the faculties of the UP Open University, I was bringing with me online education. And in fact, we had been selling online education so that we would be able to have productive collaboration between UPN and the University of the Philippines. In fact, Dr. Sokenda and Dr. Fauci had visited the University of the Philippines during that time. We had been frequenting UPN almost every year, I think, and then we have a current memorandum of understanding with the UPN and the UPLB. We can always do that. We will just have to agree what particular course we can collaborate in offering. Actually, I had been telling our collaborators before that, in fact, UP is collaborating with 5 other open universities, 4 other open universities in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Terbuka, and then we have the Thailand, Sukhothai, we have Malaysia, and of course the Philippines. So these 5 universities is offering graduate certificate of Asian Studies and the Master of Arts in Asian Studies. So this is a course where anyone coming from the 5 countries can enroll to whichever university and it will be credited. That is one of the stipulations in the agreement, that whatever they take, it will be credited by their own university. So that if a Filipino will enroll in Malaysia, it will be credited automatically by the University of the Philippines. If Thailand professors will enroll graduate studies in the University of the Philippines, it will also be automatically credited by Thailand. So we can have that agreement as well in terms of organic agriculture, for example, or ecological engineering. That would be very good, I think. Or Satoyama. We have also an offering of Satoyama in the University of the Philippines. It's MOOC, actually. MOOC, massive open online course where anyone can just enroll free. So you can just open the website of the University of the Philippines and you will see the links to the different massive open online courses for free.
It's very big opportunity for students or just and the lecturers, Professor.
And can I add?
Yes. Sorry.
Can I add? Yeah.
Okay.
You know, from the CBSUA, the Central Bicol State University for Agriculture, we have a safe network course. We offer a lot of courses on agrotourism, and we are going to organize a new webinar in the month of December on stingless bees. The stingless bees. So I'm actually working on organizing the webinar. So I will please. We would also like to invite you as soon as the date is finalized. So we offer a lot of courses through Safe Network, especially for the agriculture, different areas of agriculture, summer courses, as well as specialized courses on agriculture, including organic farming. We had a special course on organic farming also through Safe Network and CBSUA. So we'll be very happy. We'll be very happy. And aside from that, for me, because I work with the Philippine Rice Research Institute, I also work with other international organizations, especially CABI and all. I can help your university if anybody is interested to join some activity. I'm currently also the mentor in the Merle William Foundation fellowship program by the Australian Centre for International Agriculture Research. And so, you know, I also mentor some students from other countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the answering.
Can I
Okay.
add also?
Yes.
Can I add? Yeah. Actually, UPN is also part of the PhD in Sustainability program to be offered by UP Open University. So this will be offered online. And right now, the curricular proposal has been written and revised and revised and revised. You see, it's very difficult to pass a university curricular program proposal. So it reaches the main office of the University of the Philippines in Diliman, and it was returned for revision, and then to the university level. And then it was returned to the proponent at the faculty level, and then it's being revised. Hopefully, it will be approved finally by the Board of Regents of the university, and the UPN is part of that. So you will be offering one of the courses, I think agricultural sustainability, something like that. And I think a lot of areas of collaboration. We had been also proposing for a book with Dr. Sokenda and the group. And I think Dr. Josie can contribute a lot to that book as well. This will be a very good output of the collaborations. So it would be good, I think, if SafeNet would have a MOU with UPN.
Okay. Yes.
We should do.
I think we are waiting for the follow-up of the agreement for Professor Buat and Dr. Josie. Maybe there's anyone want to ask directly to Professor Buat or Dr. Josie?
Mas Alba.
I think it's
Mas Alba.
okay.
Okay. Thank you. Prof. Buot, hello. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Wiwit.
Dr. Josie, how are you?
Thank you.
Thank you for this presentation. And after this webinar, I will try to tell Ibu Sukenda, our first vice rector. So maybe we can develop a research collaboration after that.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We're looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, the lecturer is waiting for the follow-up these agreements. Okay, this one. There's anyone there? Ask directly, or I think this enough. Maybe our Professor Buat or Dr. Joshi maybe want to adding some word from the attendants.
Just I think we just be cool amidst the pandemic. Sometimes the world has been reacting a lot, and I think we just have to be cool. We just have to be just stay safe all the time, follow health protocols all the time, and practice organic agriculture, which is environment friendly and very good for health and for the economy. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there's no anyone's question from the attendant. I think this time is up for Professor Buat and Dr. Joshi. And thank you for the speaker for answering the questions. Before I read the conclusion, I will announce the best questioners. The first, I think I will choose the best questioner is going to Mr. Agadia is the first winner for the best questions. And the second is going to Oki Nur Hidayah for the second. And then the last is from the Koyimul Amri. I think this all the third question is from the student. It's very big. Okay. Okay. Congratulations to the winners. Please contact the committee to claim the prize. And then I will read the conclusion for today's guest lectures. There are many challenges and opportunities in the post-pandemic era for agriculture development. Forbes World is talking about organic agriculture that is in high demand nowadays. So our agriculture aspect takes an important role, and as said by Dr. Joshi, we have a way forward to strengthen the new thinking. For agriculture is focused on production to consumption, value chains, address hunger and all form of malnutrition, enhance and strengthen the country biosecurity mission. Finally, come to the end of our guest lecture. Thank you to our amazing speaker, Professor Buat and Dr. Joshi. Please give your applause for all the speakers. After this event, we hope to improve our relationship in the future and maybe some research collaboration. Okay, this is all for me. Thank you. I will give it back to MC. Thank you very much, Professor Buat and Dr. Joshi, for your time. I'm sorry we have to inconvenience for this.
Thank you, Mr. Alpha.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our event today. Before I end this event, I want all of the audience to open the camera so that the committee can take a picture to commemorate this occasion. To all of the audience, please open your camera. I repeat, to all of the audience, please open your camera so that we can take a commemorative photo. Okay. Okay. And that's it. As the master of ceremony, I would like to say thank you so much for our speaker, the community, and also all the audience. I apologize humbly if I made any mistake with my attitude or the miscommunication. And again, I'm very, very sorry about the technical difficulty here that we have at the beginning of the meeting. So, thank you so much Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor
very
Joshi.
much.
Thank you, Professor Buo.
Thank you.
Speakers, thank you for your
Miss
time
Nora. Thank you.
for information for us.
Mas Alba, sertifikatnya nggak ditunjukkan. Mas Alba, sertifikatnya
Okay,
nggak
certificate.
ditunjukkan.
Sorry. Maybe from the MC,
Sertifikat.
Agadia.
Okay.
Sertifikat.
Before we leave, I want to present the certificate to the speaker.
Yang mempunyai prodi di bidang pendidikan. Jadi UPN pada saat itu tidak bisa ikut itu. Jadi mungkin proyek pendidikan itu ada peluangnya. Kalau nggak ada ya nanti pilihan-pilihan yang nggak usah Bapak Ibu perhitungkan. Jangan salah Bapak Ibu. Jadi seperti itu ya. Apakah dilakukan diberlakukan? Untuk kondisinya prodi. Jadi bagaimana dia peluangnya terhadap mitra? Karena ini semuanya membutuhkan mitra. Tapi kalau Bapak Ibu misalnya pada saat rapat di fakultas,
We gonna wait a few seconds because we gonna upload it. We gonna share our screen with it. So please wait a little.
tapi kalau kemudian sulit dibebaskan itu karena situasional tadi kan, tidak sama. Jangan sampai nanti malah kita terikat dalam suatu peraturan yang tidak bisa kita jalankan. Misalnya sudah diwajibkan memperlakukan hanya 3, dan ternyata yang muncul kegiatan yang di luar itu repot nanti gitu. Sehingga tidak merdeka lagi Pak Tamu. Jadi merdeka tapi terarah karena kita dibatasi di 8 kegiatan, tidak kemana-mana. Nah, di 8 kegiatan itu kita lihat mana peluang yang terbesar sesuai dengan karakter potensi prodi kita, karena semua kegiatan SBKN maksudnya
The first certificate we gonna be awarded to Professor Inancio Ibo Jr. as the first speaker. And the second certificate we give is to Professor Dr. Ravinda Joshi as a speaker. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Buot. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Dean.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
So we'll be leaving now. Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Stay safe.
Thank you for
Stay safe also.
Yeah. Take care. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. And that's it, everybody. That's our meeting today. I hope you all have a wonderful day today, and always take care of yourself, and don't forget, stay happy for today.
Terima kasih.
Thank you Mas Aga.
Oke, thank you Mas Aga.
Terima kasih Bu Wiwit. Terima kasih.
You're
Terima kasih Bu
welcome.
Nora, terima kasih semuanya.
Mas Agadia, BEM,
Sukses ya, suksesmu.
dosen-dosen.
Oh, YouTube Bu Wiwin.
Halo.
Bu Nora.
Ya.
Aku baru tahu loh. Ternyata jadi moderat. Dari apa ini jadi presenter tak apa ini?
Dari I'm becoming MC, Miss Wiwin.
Oh, aku enggak tahu deh.
Sukses Bu Nora.
Ya.
Wiwi.
Terima kasih
Ya.
Mas.
Tenun.
Alhamdulillah. Telat aku melbune gak apa-apa. Wong mau nevi kena awan no. Aku mau nevi awan no.
Bu Sita. Ya, yang penting kita udah lihat kesuksesannya. Iya.
Wah, Cici.
Bu Sita.
Kok sekarang tambah kelihatan gemuk ngono, ginuk-ginuk ngono malah. Kayaknya jilbabnya kenemplean itu sampai ginuk-ginuk.
Ini jilbab 10 tahun yang lalu belinya baru dipakai.
Nah iya, tapi kelihatan ginuk-ginuk jadinya.
Wow, seger. Ini baru di depan dari subuh nih, depan laptop terus. Alhamdulillah. Ya Allah.
Ini saya masih di workshop.
Iku mau sapa mahasiswa iku mau aku gak ero rek. Cas ciscu sapa iku mau jenenge lali aku.
Sopo Aki?
Adrian.
Iya, APT ku mau lho aku.
Agak dia Bu.
Agadia.
Iya, anggen dia ya.
Agadia.
Iya lah aku gelek ketemu tapi lali terus jenenge.
Agadia.
Ibu Nora, sukses Ibu Nora. Mo.
Wes ya. Selamat ya Bu.
Waalaikumsalam Bu
Mbak
Nora.
Wiwit, selamat Mbak Wiwit. Selamat
Ya,
Ade, selamat.
Terima
Agadia.
kasih semua.
Apa nih sing selamat?
Ya.
Aku ndredeg kayak iki mau, masyaallah aku
Mbak Wiwit.
pemula nduk.
Bukan Mbak Wiwit, Mbak Wiwit.
Oh, makanya GR aku malian.
Wes. Ya udah. Monggo. Monggo
Oke,
ya.
makasih.
Assalamualaikum ya Bu Sita.
Waalaikumsalam.
Bagun, monggo.
Tuan Bupati, thank you for our meeting. I'm sorry ya.
Terima kasih untuk panitia semua.
G Mas Fadli,
Terima kasih Mas Aditya dan teman-teman Mas Agung.
Ya,
dan
sama-sama Ibu. Panitia.
Mas Aditya.
seneng ya. Seneng ya nek berhasil ya. Ake partisipan nih kaya ini.
Tadi sempat deg-degan yo.
Mosok ndredeg. Waktune mepet tamu.
Bukan lennya mati tadi 2 kali.
Oh, Zoom ta.
Iya Bu. Koneksi yang terputus.
Kok didekek dina Jumat ya mu?
Apa?
Nah iya, pas akeh kegiatan.
Yo, Sabtu aku diprotes kok.
Oh iya ta. Aduh. Alhamdulillah.